Робби, let's start with you and how you came up with this magical episode.
This young man and this young man over here at the beginning of the season floated the idea that we might do something absurd for the 5th episode, which was a high school musical. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, I will kill all the other writers who are sitting right over there to write this episode. As soon as I heard it, I just started thinking about the movie Rushmore, which is ultimately this one kid, Max Fisher, puts on these love letters to these movies that he loves. It's Serpico, it's Apocalypse Now, and all this other stuff. And it just felt like a great way to craft a love letter to the show and a love letter to you guys. Oh, and these guys.
They're semi-important, I guess.
If I could add to that,
yes.
just a thing. So Jeremy and I thought about this, and then it was like one of the first meetings with the writers, and we said, well, does anybody have any episodes? And before anybody said anything, Робби said, I have episode 5.
Tips.
I have that. So.
You're supposed to come in with a standalone, a myth episode, and a myth alone, or whatever the hell they're called, and I had 3 musical pitches, all of which were just this one.
Well, how did you come up with those magical musical numbers? Because they were very catchy, I think. And
well, that's all a credit to Jay and Chris. I wrote the lyrics, and then
stand up.
These two gentlemen right here. That's Jay and Chris.
Leonard.
I watched a lot of musicals. I listened to a lot of musicals, and really my wife was the biggest inspiration. She's a big musical theater kid. My wife's middle name is Marie, Maeve, Siobhan, Kristen, everyone. That was all the theater kids that she went to school with. So yeah, it's a love letter to my wife too.
You just saved yourself there, Робби. You just saved it.
She's not here, right?
She's not. She's off writing an episode of Once Upon a Time. So.
Way to hijack the panel.
Thank you.
Phil, how did you kind of approach staging this amazing, the musical numbers alone must have been pretty challenging.
I cried a lot by myself in a corner somewhere. It was daunting at times because you had to stage this musical play within the confines of our show, and the girls did a knockout job. Where's Katie and Joy? Stand up. They're here. 2 of our young ladies are here somewhere.
Yes.
Hey, right there. It made it a lot easier with a great script and a great cast.
I've never seen them out of their school outfits.
I know.
It's nice to see y'all.
They're actually adults. You realize that.
What happened?
Jeremy, what can you kind of say about where the brothers go from here? Because obviously the mark of Cain is still a big issue for the boys, even though Dean has now been undemoned.
Well, hello. I'm just thrilled to be meeting you all for the first time here tonight. It's really
Is that
wonderful.
Jeremy?
Yeah. The boys. I think one of the really nice things to come out of Dean being a demon was that the boys
Was the I'm too sexy scene. That was the best thing to come.
More musical numbers, always.
Was a chance for them to find a way to be the brothers that they had been, even some years back, to reconnect again in a way that they maybe haven't in some time. And I think it's that newfound rediscovery, I'm making up sentences now, of that bond that is really put to the test in the coming episodes. And I'll leave it at that.
That's a good place to leave it. It's a pretty out there episode concept. So Jared and Jensen, what was your reaction when you first heard the pitch for the concept?
Please don't make us sing. It was, you know what, we've been in a situation like this probably more than actors on other TV shows where they tell us to break the fourth wall, and we're always thrilled. Our approach to this is as long as we kind of remain true to Sam and Dean in the situation, which obviously made for a lot of comic relief with us kind of going like, seeing what's going on. I think as long as we are true to Sam and Dean in that situation, I think it's kind of daunting.
I didn't have a positive reaction when I read the script. And the first time in, I think, 200 scripts. I went and sat down in the showrunner's office and said, what in God's name, what are you doing? Why is this, why? I need to understand why this is happening. He did a very eloquent answers for me, and he did a very good job of explaining why we were doing what we were doing. And I guess I had been aware of this fan fiction for a while, and just felt like if I ignored it, it would eventually go away. So when I read this, I wasn't angry. I just wanted to understand why.
You ripped up his office. Come on, dude.
I really, and then on my way out of the writer's office, then Робби hijacked me, and he's like, hey man, come here.
Wait, hold up. Actually, you left the office and you turned back to him. He's like, so he's fired, right?
Yeah, this is true. I think it was more of a plea to save your job by the time you were pulling me into the writer's room and explaining what was happening. But it was, I just wanted to understand where we were going and what was the message that we were ultimately sending with this script and this story, and by the end of it, I felt good, and I had all the confidence, and they gave me the confidence that I needed in that. And then and look, the fact that it was better than I could have ever hoped, and was I should have never even sat down in that office. So Jeremy, I'm sorry.
The last episode that we saw before this one, Dean is no longer a demon, so that's good. Castиэль has some grace, not his own, but he is regraced. So Misha, can you talk a little bit about where Castиэль will go from here, what we might see for him coming up?
I'm going to sidebar for a second, though, because why not? When I got the script, I also sent an email. I wasn't so audacious to show up in the writer's room because these guys don't even know what we look like in person.
It's nice to meet you, Jensen.
What's up?
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, it is nice to meet you, Робби, if that is your name.
I sent an email and I said, not for nothing, but this was just the outline. So this was sort of way back at the beginning of the season. I said, I would love to be in the 200th episode, just because it's such kind of a milestone. It's such a big deal. And again, very eloquently, Jeremy explained how they wanted to prioritize quality in this episode. And so they were casting Castиэль with another actor, and I thought that was a good choice.
Bold
So,
choice.
excellent. Thank you for doing that. Castиэль.
She played a pretty butch, though. I felt a little too butch.
Castиэль has, he's confronting the issues of his fading grace again, moving forward, because he's on borrowed time at this point. But he's also going to revisit a character from his past. We're allowed to talk about this now, right?
No.
You let the cat out of the bag,
No.
didn't you? He let the cat out of the bag. At the
think the
last
cat
red
is out.
carpet event.
And he's
Yes.
fired.
You're fired. I think. I'm not allowed to talk about it, but it's great, and you're gonna love it.
Episode 13 is entitled A Bullet for Cass. We'll keep that one under our hats.
Presented by Straight Talk Wireless. The world needs more straight talk. Supernatural, Tuesdays 9/8 Central on the CW.